Good morning to everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the one of the new topic. Already you studied the last topic, plant kingdom. But in our lesson we want to study about the plants. First of all, we want to study about the external feature. What is the meaning of external feature? That is nothing but morphology. In our plant we want to study plant morphology. Here the plant morphology is nothing but, or simply we say, external study of the plants and its parts. So the plant morphology was classified into two major categories. Main thing, vegetative morphology and reproductive morphology. Here the vegetative morphology is nothing but vegetative parts, that is root, shoot or stem, leaf, and then reproductive morphology is nothing but flower, fruit, seeds. Here in our third lesson we want to study about the vegetative morphology. This is the introduction about the plant morphology. Here the vegetative morphology mainly classified based on their root system as well as shoot system. The shoot system, they contain leaf, shoot like a stem and several branches. Then the reproductive morphology, they contain flower, inflorescence, fruits and seeds. Here the vegetative morphology mainly it can be classified in some of the studies based on habit, habitat and lifespan. First one is habit. Here the plants that can be classified based on their habit. What is habit? The general form of a plant, that is called it as habit. Habit that can be classified into herbs, shrub, climber. Here what is herb? Herb is nothing but soft stem plant, soft shoot plant, simply we say. Here there is no wood. Here it can be easily breakable, that is called it as herb. Herb that can be able to classified into annuals, biennials and perennials. Perennial herb having bulb, corm, rhizome or tuber. Here some of them are underground, that can be termed as zeophyte. Underground, below the soil, that is nothing but a zeophyte. For example, Phyllanthus amarus, Cleome viscosa. Here Phyllanthus amarus is nothing but Keelanelli. Then next one is shrub. Shrub is a perennial woody plant with several main stem arising from the ground level. For example, Hibiscus rosa sinensis, Chinese rose, simply we say Tamil as Sembarthi. Here in our day-to-day life, some of the shrub we can easily observe. Then third one is climber, an elongated weak stem generally supported by means of climbing device, that is called it as climber. The climbers are otherwise called it as vines because it can be able to creep with the help of climbing mechanism. Here the climbers are annual or a perennial. Some of them are herbaceous or woody. Lion is a vine that is perennial and woody. Lions are major component in the tree canopy layer of some tropical forest. For example, bougainvillea. Next one is trees. A tree is a stout, tall, perennial, woody plant having one major or a main stem, that is called it as trunk, which many lateral branches arises. For example, mango tree, sapota, jackfruit, fig, teak, neem, etc. If the trunk remain unbranched, it is said to be caducus. For example, monocot trees. Here in monocot, only one main stem that can be arised. Here there is no lateral branches. So we call it as kadak. For example, coconut. Then palmyra. Next one is plant habitat. Depending upon plant growth, habitat may be classified into two major categories, that is terrestrial and aquatic. Here you know terrestrial, most of the plants are present on the soil surface or a land surface, that is called it as terrestrial plant. Aquatic means the plants that can be able to survive in the water system, that is called it as aquatic. Here the terrestrial plants are mostly present above the soil surface, and most of their terrestrial plants are herb, shrub, climber, vines, trees, etc. Then next one is aquatic plants, the plants that can be able to survive on the water, that is called it as aquatic plants. The aquatic plants are otherwise called it as hydrophytes. Plant habitat that can be able to classified into two major categories. First one is terrestrial habitat, second one is aquatic habitat. Here the terrestrial habitat is nothing but the plants that can be able to grow on the soil surface, that is called it as terrestrial habitat. That terrestrial habitat that can be able to classified into a four major categories. The first one is Mesophyte, second one is Mesophyte, second one is Xerophyte, third one is Samo Fights, fourth one is Lithophytes. Here in Mesophyte, what is Mesophyte? First of all, Meso is nothing but moderate, Phyte is nothing but plants. Here moderate plant is called it as Mesophytes. Mesophytes growing on the soil surface with sufficient water. Here the plants that can be able to survive with the help of moderate rainfall, that type of plant is called it as Mesophytes. For example, most of the angiospermic plants or trees are nothing but Mesophytes. For example, neem tree, mango tree, sapota tree, most of the trees, especially fruit yielding trees, are Mesophytes. Second one is Xerophytes. Zero refers to without water. Phyte refers to plants. Here the Xerophyte is otherwise called it as dry habitats. Without water, the plant that can be able to survive. For example, some of the cactus, euphorbia, agave, aloe vera, these that can be able to comes under the Xerophytes. Especially Cactaceae member, Euphorbiaceae member, Agaveaceae members, all the one they can be comes under the Xerophytes. The third one is Samo Fights. Samo refers to sand, Fights refers to plants. The plants that can be able to survive on the sand, that is called it as Samo Fights. For example, Ipomia, one species of Ipomia, Pescapria and Spinifex litroris. These are both of the plants, they can be comes under Samophytes. The last category, that is called it as Lithophytes. Litho refers to rock, Phytes refers to plants. The plant that can be able to survive on the rocky surface, that is called it as Lithophytes. Here for example, some of the algae and some of the lichens are comes under the Lithophytes. What is lichen? The symbiotic association between the algae and fungi, that is called it as lichen. Some of the algae like some of the algae that can be able to survive with the help of symbiotic association, these are comes under the Lithophytes. Some type of lichens are Lithophytes. For example, fructose lichen, fructose lichen, etc. are comes under the Lithophytes.